So you're saying there's no one looking into it right now.
And your only evidence, not
You're trying to derail this interview talking about Turkey. I'm not interested in Turkey right now. Turkey can be another conversation. Today I'm talking about Russia because you're putting out Russian propaganda now, today. Why are you doing it? And you're avoiding my questions. You keep talking about Turkey. Turkey is irrelevant in this situation. I'm not answering questions from you. This isn't your channel. Why do you support the kidnapping of Ukrainian children? Why did you abstain afterwards but vote for?
Okay. Some of the kids there, they might want to be.
What are you talking about? What do you mean they want to be? They are children that were kidnapped by Russia. What do you mean they want to be? What on earth are you talking about?
A lot of kids, they want to return and they should return if they want to.
What children? No. Where did you get that from? What children want to be returned, want to stay in Russia? And how do you even know that?
How do you even know that there is some children that they are happy with?
Because they have been kidnapped.
How do you know out of these 20,000 children, every one of them wants to return? They are not happy there.
It is ludicrous that you would say that children that have been kidnapped from their homes that have been bombed, want to be with their kidnappers and return. This is actually one of the most insidious things I've ever heard from someone.
Okay.
What the fuck are you talking about? You actually believe this? It's actually an evil thing to believe. And I've spoken to children that have been relocated back to Ukraine, and they were devastated. They had their identities erased, and you justify it by saying some of them speak Russian.
People are dying. People are dying.
And who are killing those people?
Every day.
And who's responsible for that?
And we need to put an end.
You can't say it. You can't say it.
We need to put an end to this war. And how we're going to put an end to this war? With
siding with the aggressor, which is what you're doing apparently now. You're obsessed with Ukraine. You talk endlessly negative shit about Ukraine. And you haven't been.
I've been to Ukraine.
Since the full-scale invasion?
No, I haven't.
Why not? You went to Russia. Why didn't you go to Ukraine?
I want to go.
Why haven't you? It's been 3.5 years.
I want to go.
Why haven't you?
I want to go, but to be honest, I'm a bit afraid. What we are doing with answer the question. What we are doing with Turkey and talking with them to solve the Cyprus problem.
I'm not talking about Turkey. I'm here to talk about Russia. But this is my interview. This isn't your show. I'm asking you why you went to Russia and put out Russian propaganda. Entire weekend
you have any evidence that
I'm celebration of the Russian military.
I'm paid by Russia? You don't.
I didn't say you're paid by Russia. I said you were an asset to Russia, which you are. Fidas is a Cyprus MEP who's been tweeting constant anti-Ukraine Kremlin propaganda, and he's just come back from his trip to Moscow. It doesn't seem like he's been confronted directly before, not by a journalist. And that is why I've come here to Brussels, to find out exactly what his intentions are. And if you look at the content he's been putting out, it's basically repeating Kremlin press releases. And it appears like he's an asset to Russia. So I'm going to ask him why he's doing this and what his intentions are. Who paid for your Moscow trip and what did they buy?
Who paid for my Moscow trip?
Your trip to Moscow. And what did they buy?
Let's take this from the beginning. Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Fidas. I'm very excited to be here. You made a video about me.
I did.
And got millions of views. And you were saying that I'm a Russian asset.
You're an asset to Russia based on what you're putting out, yeah.
Okay. What evidence you have for this?
I've spoken to multiple people that have raised concerns about you for a long time. I spoke to Christopher, who was a friend of yours that helped get you elected. He said that he feels regret and remorse about that he created a monster. He also believes that you've been putting out information that is an asset to Russia. If you put out disinformation and pro-Kremlin lines on a daily basis, especially from here, that makes you a Russian asset whether you're paid or not. So how do you respond to that?
Okay, so you made interviews from a lot of people, you said. The only two people I know from the people that you interviewed is the two people that I consider my biggest haters in Cyprus. So you interviewed
so what you're saying they're wrong?
My biggest... No, well, we can talk. Let each other talk and we can explain everything. So you interviewed the biggest haters of me, these two guys. The one is the reporter, and I made a podcast with him and I named it My Biggest Journalist Hater.
Sure.
And this was another guy. We used to be friends, and then something happened politically and we stopped being friends, and now he's attacking me politically.
Is what he's saying untrue?
It's profitable for him.
Is it true or not? It's a simple answer.
So you took the two people that are hating me in Cyprus and you said that You have evidence. They told you that they have evidence that I'm a Russian asset.
But on top of that, the evidence is what you post.
This evidence?
The evidence is what you post on your feed that gets millions of views and shared by pro-Kremlin accounts. That makes you an asset to Russia. You didn't go to Ukraine. You didn't go to any other
So you don't have evidence.
The evidence is what you posted on your feed, which is anti-Ukraine, which is Kremlin propaganda. But do you know what a Russian asset is?
So you don't have evidence.
Do you know what a Russian asset is?
So you said you did an investigation.
Anyone watching this can look at your feed and see the evidence. You've been repeating Kremlin lies and lines continuously. That is the evidence that you're a Russian asset.
You know, this is a lot of people. What is their opinion? They want peace.
This isn't an opinion.
They want to stop the war. So this
but you don't want
Jeffrey
to stop the war. You want
Sachs,
to continue
professor of Columbia University, has the same opinion. John Mearsheimer, Elon Musk, a lot of people have the same opinion that they want.
Fidas, do you understand what a Russian asset is? Do you know what that means?
Explain me, please.
It is an asset to Russia. An asset because you're someone putting out their propaganda, one-sided propaganda. That makes you an asset to Russia. Why are you doing that?
My friend, it's different for you to say that I say something that you disagree.
Okay, so you don't have an answer to this.
And it's different for you to say that I'm a Russian
Okay, I'll be more direct then. Who paid for your Moscow trip?
Okay. Let's go into this conversation.
No, who paid for it? Did you pay for it?
Let's go into... I paid everything with my own money in the Moscow trip, from my own pay.
And why did you do that?
And why did I do that?
Why would you spend your own money going to a Russian military celebration during an active invasion of the biggest country in Europe?
My friend, I didn't went to the Russian celebration
Do you know
of
what
the
VE
Victory
Day is?
Day.
It's a celebration of military
celebration. I didn't went to the Russian celebration of the military parade.
So where did you go?
So I went to. So you see, you have here a lot of wrong information.
Well,
First
no, this
of all,
is on your feed.
You said based on some people that you talked about that they are my biggest haters.
This is based on what you are posting on your feed.
You are saying that I went to the Victory Day to celebrate
you went to the Victory Day. You went to the Victory Day.
And I didn't went. So you have a lot of false information.
But this is what you posted.
You are posting.
You posted from Russia.
Misinformation, propaganda.
What propaganda am I posting?
That fake information. I didn't went to the military parade. I'm telling you, you have any evidence?
Entire weekend
you have any evidence
was
that
a celebration of the Russian military.
I'm paid by Russia? You don't.
I didn't say you're paid by Russia. I said you're an asset to Russia, which you are. And you propagate Kremlin lines from that room, a seat in democracy in Europe, against a country, for a country, invading the largest democratic country in Europe. You are doing that every single day. This isn't my opinion, and it's not the opinion of the people that I've spoken to. This is a fact based on what you've posted on your own feed. Anyone can check this out. Why are you putting out Kremlin lies? Why did you use your own money to go to Moscow during Victory Day celebrations?
Okay, so this is a bigger thing. So first of all, Turkey, Turkey, the country, invaded my country 50 years ago, Cyprus. So it's a similar situation, what happened. So I don't see any...
So would you go to Turkey?
Wait. So with Turkey, we're trying to solve the problem with the Cyprus problem with talks, with peace talks, trying to make communication with the other side and to find compromise and solve the problem.
So why haven't you gone to Ukraine?
Wait, my friend. I think this is the right approach that we should try to stop the war now and try to have diplomacy. And that's what I just said. I want to stop the war now and start doing diplomacy.
Your job isn't to do diplomacy from the European Parliament.
My friend,
that's not your job.
If my job is not to do a diplomacy as a member of the European Parliament, then what
Multiple MEPs I've spoken to in this building said, why on earth is he going to Russia? It has nothing to do with diplomacy. Do you accept that Russia invaded Ukraine and that they are the aggressor?
Yes, I accept that.
So why would you go to that country
but
and
also
put out
I accept that Turkey invaded my country.
So would you have gone to Turkey 50 years ago and put out Turkish propaganda?
But I still speak, we as Europeans speak with Turkey to solve the problem.
50 years later.
Is something changed? They are not the aggressor 50 years later.
Russia is actively putting bombs and missiles into Ukraine every single day.
And Turkey actively put bombs in my country, Cyprus, but we talk with them.
And would you put
as
out
European
Turkey
Union?
propaganda?
So you are saying that what we are doing with Turkey is wrong? That we are talking with them?
I think going to Russia and not doing diplomacy.
What we are doing with
Fidas,
answer the question. What we are
propaganda
doing with
Russia.
Turkey and talking with them to solve the Cyprus problem.
I'm not talking about Turkey. I'm
but
here to
I
talk
am
about
talking
Russia.
about
But this
Turkey.
is my interview. This isn't your show. I'm asking you why you went to Russia and put out Russian propaganda. You didn't go to Ukraine, and you didn't do any diplomacy. You put out propaganda.
This is you don't own the interview. We are having a conversation.
I invited you
and
for an
we
interview, but
ask
you're not interviewing me right now.
each
I'm
other
interviewing you.
question. But my friend, this is what you are accusing me that I'm a Russian asset. I'm trying to explain you with some things that I think that I'm not.
You put out videos saying that Russia was entitled to take Ukraine because they speak Russian in some of those territories. That's from the Kremlin playbook.
I didn't say that they
Yes,
are
you did.
entitled to take.
You said you quoted referendums.
I'm just saying that there is a lot of things that meet the eye that we don't consider.
No, there isn't. This is a cut and dry situation.
Of course,
Russia invaded Ukraine and they have no right to be there.
Russia invaded Ukraine, I agree, but there is a lot of things under this that we are underlook. We don't see the root causes of the problem.
The causes of the problem are Russia being an aggressive, expansionist empire.
Turkey is the aggressor, but we still talk as Europeans.
I'm not talking about Turkey. I'm talking about Russia.
But I'm talking about Turkey because
you can talk about whatever you want. But right now, I'm asking you about Russia. I'm not talking about Turkey. I'm not talking about Cyprus. You went to Russia recently.
So you disagree that everyone here in the parliament wants to have diplomacy with Turkey.
I'm not talking about Turkey. You're trying to derail this interview talking about Turkey.
No, but
I'm not interested in Turkey right now. Turkey could be another conversation.
But
today I'm talking about
Russia
Russia because you're putting out Russian propaganda now, today. Why are you doing it? And you're avoiding my questions. You keep talking about Turkey. Turkey is irrelevant in this situation.
So you said you have evidence.
On your feed.
So all this stuff that you said that I interviewed all these people,
sure,
and I have investigated and I have evidence.
My conclusion is based on everything that you've posted and based on a few interviews, but mainly what you've posted, that you are a Russian asset.
You said now, based on few
That's no different to how I started this interview. No, it isn't. It's no different.
Few interviews.
You put out Kremlin propaganda on a daily basis.
But by the way, I'm enjoying this. That's why I'm here. This is beautiful. This is your right to...
No, this is really serious. You brought this entire parliament into disrepute.
This is your right to attack me. This is my right to express my mandate as I want. And you are doing your job and I'm doing my job.
Is all of this a joke to you?
And this is beautiful because this is democracy. No, having diverse opinions is
but you have no interest in democracy.
It's not a joke.
But you have no interest in democracy because you shield for Russia, who jail journalists, who throw everybody who criticizes the state in prison, who have phony elections, and then you say you care about democracy. How is that caring about democracy in any way? Russia is the opposite of every single thing this parliament stands for.
What is democracy? Define democracy.
The opposite of Russia. Elections. Freedom of press, freedom of information, freedom of speech. None of those things are allowed in Russia.
Democracy is citizens deciding for how they want to be
And you think that's
led.
the case in Russia?
You know, my friend, 70% of the people of my country, Cyprus...
I'm not talking about Cyprus right now.
...elected me. I'm from Cyprus. They elected me. They voted for me. I was the most voted person in Cyprus. And they elected me. And they want to normalize relationship with Russia.
No, they don't.
They do.
The people of Cyprus generally are not interested in normalizing Russian relationships.
You can go not only check all my videos and the thousands and hundreds of thousands of views and likes and comments on the videos that I post, but also see the polls of what the public opinion, not only Cyprus, but also Greece, that I speak Greek, the 65 to 70% they want to normalize relationship.
I'm not talking about Turkey or Cyprus right
with Russia. So my job as a member of the European Parliament representing those people is to try to normalize relations with the European Union and Russia.
Putting out propaganda is not diplomacy. It is putting out propaganda.
Propaganda is
that the oblast
to start discussing, to start diplomacy.
But that's not what you're doing.
Propaganda.
That's not what you're doing, though.
This is what I'm doing. Everything.
You are repeating Kremlin press releases.
Every video that I say we need to start discussing. We are mad that we are not in the table of discussions as Europeans, but we had the opportunity to discuss and we declined. So we need to start talking.
You're under investigation right now from this parliament. What are they going to find?
I'm not under an investigation.
As of last week, they said they're under an investigation.
Who said so?
A press release.
Show me.
You can Google it after this interview. I'm telling you that's the case.
This, please.
So what are they investigating?
They're not officially investigated.
They
You
said
are
they're looking
lying.
into your Russia trip.
You see here, my friend,
you
you
have
are just
also-
here repeating
Phineas.
a lot of lies. You said you have
you're
evidence.
saying there's no one looking into it
and
right now.
your
No, no.
only evidence is that my videos,
Which are cut and
evidence.
dry Russian propaganda. Phineas, I know this is a
love
joke
you,
to you. I know
but
this is a joke
this
to you.
is so
This
beautiful
this entire thing
this
seems
is
like a
what
joke to you.
democracy is. It's amazing.
No, this
And
is you undermining
both
everything
your
about Europe.
job for you to do it and for me to
Why
do
haven't you been to Ukraine if you care so much about
it.
democracy?
I've been to Ukraine.
Since the full-scale invasion?
No, I haven't.
Why
been.
not? You went to Russia. Why didn't you go to Ukraine?
I want to go.
Why haven't you? It's been 3.5 years.
I want to go.
Why haven't you?
I want to go, but to be honest, I'm a bit afraid because what I'm posting might some people find it aggressive, but I want to go. So I started with other MEPs looking into it to go also to Ukraine.
Why haven't you gone? You seem so interested in Ukraine. You seem to talk constantly about Ukraine and Ukrainian politics, about Russian-speaking people in Ukraine.
I'm telling
but you haven't been. Why?
Recently, I've been to Russia. I was also
But you didn't go to Ukraine?
To Russia. About Russia all the time. So I'm looking into it with other MEPs.
I don't think you have any interest in going to Ukraine because you would have done it by now. You're obsessed with Ukraine. You talk endlessly negative shit about Ukraine, and you haven't been.
By the way, I consider that I love the Ukrainian people and that they want also to end this war as soon as
The
possible.
Ukrainian people are disgusted with your content. Does that surprise you?
You know, I spoke with a lot of Ukrainian people and they are not disgusted with my content.
Overwhelmingly disgusted with what you've been putting out at all levels of Ukrainian society. I know because I live there and I ask about it all the time and I look into it, I read the comments. Why are they so outraged by your content?
My friend, I say what I believe. It's up to the people to interpret and decide if they like it or not. My job is not to be liked. My job is to do and act according to my beliefs in the European Parliament and exercise my mandate.
Beliefs, you put out videos saying that the oblasts that speak Russian should have referendums, and you quoted fake referendums that are done at gunpoint. Why would you reference that and quote that? This is clearly lies. Do you think in Ireland, because they speak English, that Britain should take it back?
I'm saying, my friend, that there is a lot of things that doesn't meet a lot of deeper things here. For example...
Well, clearly you're not interested in finding out what those things are because you don't want to go to Ukraine.
For example, Ukraine's NATO that wanted to be partners, that wanted to enter into NATO, Russia saw this as an existential threat that to have military bases of NATO next to their borders. So there is, and this I believe is a United States war that they started it, that they provoked it.
This is Kremlin garbage. This is the same stuff that in 2014 people said about the Maidan revolution. It's complete garbage.
My friend, having the same opinion with some stuff that Kremlin has doesn't. You are able to believe whatever you.
Well, this is like being
here.
in Nazi Germany and saying, well, actually, Germany has a right to do this, and quoting stuff that comes out from the German parliament. It's no different.
My friend, I'm explaining you. I have this. There is a lot of more deeper things that meet the eye.
No, there isn't.
Here in this conflict.
In Ukraine, it's pretty simple. Children being kidnapped, bombs going into residential buildings every single day, and Russia unfairly and unjustifiably doing that. And you just can't accept that.
And people are dying. People
and
are
who are
dying
killing those people?
Every day.
And who's responsible for that?
And we need to put an end.
You can't say it. You can't say it.
We need to put an end to this war. And how we're going to put an end to this war? With how you...
With siding with the aggressor, which is what you're doing, apparently.
So with how do you propose... It's been 3 years, hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians die, and this will not put an end. With whoever
and you
the
think
approach,
siding with Russia is doing it?
Whoever the approach you want to have is not working, because we don't have an end. So we need to find alternative solutions and start having diplomacy.
It's empty. This doesn't mean anything. Russia's the aggressor, and siding with them is a complete waste of time. But that's what you've been doing, and I don't know why you've been doing it.
And this is
I don't know whether you're being paid.
You can say whatever you want. I can say whatever I want. It's up to the people to interpret who they believe.
I think people can make up their own minds pretty easily, especially your refusal to... No, because you're not asking me questions right now. You're not asking me questions right now. If you'd like to interview me...
How did you choose
If you'd like, we can arrange an interview on your channel, but right now this is my channel and I'm asking you the questions. right now.
How did
Why
you
didn't you go to
conduct
Ukraine?
your interviews?
I'm not going to talk about my thesis and how I put my film together. Again, if you want to ask me questions, I can go on your channel.
You spoke with the two biggest haters of mine, and you don't consider this as as biased interview.
Why do you support the kidnapping of Ukrainian children?
This question.
I'm not answering questions from you. This isn't your channel. Why do you support the kidnapping of Ukrainian children? Why did you abstain afterwards but vote for?
Okay, we can get into this. So, for everyone to understand, it was a vote about bringing back Ukrainian children that from the conflict on the war that was in the.
Should they be returned? Should they have been kidnapped?
I agree that they should return, but
you agree that they should be returned?
Yes, I agree.
You didn't vote that way.
But let's talk.
So why didn't you vote?
Let's talk about it. So,
I'm asking you.
So this, I did the research. The parliament provided us with two citations to the research that one was from Zelensky. It was the website that Zelensky created, and the second was a Yale University study that I think the Biden administration funded.
Oh, so you think it's fake?
And I think that they over-exaggerate the situation, but with the data that I had, I went and voted against. But then I voted after I thought that only 4 people voted against this.
So you think it's exaggerated?
Wait. After four people only voted against this, I did exaggerated, weaponize to weaponize Russia, and that will create exactly the opposite thing that I want for diplomacy.
But Russia is guilty of this. Of course, it should be weaponized.
So
absolutely, they kidnapped tens of thousands of children.
I saw that only 4 MEPs voted, 3 in total, about this, and I went. We have the right as member of the European Parliament to go and change our votes 2 hours after. So I went and voted abstention.
But why didn't you say yes?
A lot of other MEPs, I don't know, 30, 40 other MEPs. So all the other 30, 40 MEPs, they are Russian assets.
You voted. I'm asking about you. I'm not interviewing them right now.
Abstention.
Why didn't you condemn the kidnapping of children?
So all these 40 other MEPs, they are Russian assets.
I'm not talking about other MEPs right now. I'm asking you why you abstained.
All the other 40 MEPs, they are Russian assets.
But you just told me, actually, you agree they should be returned home. So why didn't you vote that way? And why do you think it's exaggerated?
Because from the sources that I had and the time that I had to research, I thought that I shouldn't vote for
So you should be more informed before you vote, right? I mean, that's meant to be your job. Not just memes, not just
But
likes,
I read the sources, I read everything.
You said you read 2 sources.
I'm not sure that anyone here read.
There are 56 charities right now, independent NGOs, that look into relocating and bringing back those children. Why didn't you look at any of their work? Why did you focus only on the Biden administration and the Zelensky administration?
This is what the parliament provided me. This was the citations that the parliament provided me. So I had to look into what they wrote it and how. So these 2 citations that I looked into them, I read them, and I thought that the evidence, maybe they're biased.
So you agree Russia is guilty of kidnapping tens of thousands of Ukrainian children and they should be returned?
I think there is a lot of children. Because they said 20,000. Because they said 20,000. Because some of the kids there, they might want to be.
What are you talking about? What do you mean they want to be? They are children that were kidnapped by Russia. What do you mean they want to be? What on earth are you talking about?
A lot of kids, they want to return, and they should return if they want to.
What children?
Not force
no. Where did you get that from? What children want to be returned, want to stay in Russia? And how do you even know that?
How do you even know that there is some children that they are happy with?
Because they have been kidnapped.
How do you know out of these 20,000 children, every one of them wants to return? They're not happy there.
This is ludicrous that you would say that children that have been kidnapped from their homes that have been bombed, want to be with their kidnappers and return. This is actually one of the most insidious things I've ever heard from someone.
Okay.
What the fuck are you talking about? You actually believe this? It's actually an evil thing to believe. And I've spoken to children that have been relocated back to Ukraine, and they were devastated. They had their identities erased, and you justify it by saying some of them speak Russian. Well, a lot of people in the East speak Russian, but every single one I've spoken to, and I spend a lot of time in the Donbass, are doing everything they can to get the Russian army out of Ukraine.
I love the way that you attack me.
I'm just telling the truth. You have no answers to this.
Truth is something, not always. You have your truth, I have my truth. We need to, there is a...
No. There's not my truth and your truth. There's the truth. The truth. But Russia started this war, and the truth that those kids are kidnapped.
A lot of times the truth is evolved with the data.
No, it isn't. That's a fact. Those children were kidnapped. That's anyway. Fact.
So I explain you the way how I voted. I voted abstention on that.
Because you didn't have enough information. It seems like you treat this entire place like a meme, like a joke, like you did on your Prankster YouTube channel. You don't do enough research for any of the topics that you vote on.
Okay, that's your right to believe. But you know, I believe that honestly, I'm doing more research about voting maybe than everyone in this house, because maybe on the top 10 out of the 720 MPs, because I'm independent and I don't have a political group to give me the voting list and to tell me what to vote. So I research every single vote, me and my team, and we debate about everything.
No, you said you just read something from the parliament. Why didn't you do any more investigation into that? You said that you just looked at the two sources.
On that week, we voted 500 things. And to spend my team 1-2 hours to do that investigation, and for me to spend 1 hour debating about this, it's plenty of time for us to decide something. And we do this for each vote, for 500 votes that we have. So I think this is very, very good job that we're doing on debating and voting what to. And I don't think anyone else here does much research for what they vote.
Well, you've done clearly no research about Russia and Ukraine.
And I have the right to believe what I believe with the limited time and also limited information that I have.
The information that you've been putting out, the propaganda you've been putting out, is all sided to Russia, all of it, including what you did with your stats about Russian speakers, including what you talk about with the peace and diplomacy, and you've done no research into what's going on in Ukraine. And you say that you've been looking into going, but it's been 3.5 years. You're obsessed with Ukraine and you haven't been, which is pretty easy to draw a conclusion that you're completely uninterested in peace. You don't even want to condemn the aggressor. Again, if this was 1945, you'd be siding with Hitler, who invaded countries around it, and say that we need it through diplomacy. These are all facts.
So Turkey invaded Cyprus.
I'm not talking about Turkey.
And you are saying that everyone here in the European Parliament that is collaborating with Turkey and will have good diplomatic ways, they are also will go with Hitler.
I'm not talking about Turkey or the other MEPs. I haven't investigated anybody else. I've just been looking at your content.
So you're just selective. You're just taking a topic. You don't see the big picture. So Turkey invaded my country, Cyprus.
I'm not talking about
It's the same
I'm not
thing.
talking about it.
So everyone here that has diplomatic ties with Turkey in the European Parliament, they want to continue collaborating with Turkey, should go and work with, they are siding also with Hitler.
Why do you think I'm not doing investigations about other people? I'm talking about you, not other MEPs, and I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm here to talk about you. But you seem to skirt around every single one of my questions. You don't really want to answer about the kidnapped children. And I've asked you, in Ireland they speak English. Should Britain take Ireland? I mean, this is your logic.
I said it's not only that, there is a lot of things, a lot more deeper root cause that I explain you.
But you don't want to go there and find out the truth, right? You just want to go to Russia instead while they launch missiles.
My friend, like, I believe what I believe with the information that I had and the research that I had. Do I have the right to believe something different than you?
Yeah, but you should be held accountable.
Okay, you are holding me accountable. You are doing your research.
Why do you think that...
And I have the right to believe what I believe.
It looks like you've decided what you want to believe before any of this happened.
We are both doing our jobs. Cool.
Okay, I think that this is not really working because you're skirting around everything that I'm saying. You're saying that there are two truths when there isn't. And it looks like you're just going to continue to do this. Are you going to continue making anti-Ukraine propaganda and pro-Russian propaganda for the next few months? What are you going to do?
I will do whatever I want.
Your comments are overwhelmingly negative right now.
And that's what my mandate is. I will exercise my mandate however I believe is good.
Overwhelmingly, the comments on all of your videos across platforms are incredibly negative right now. People who support Ukraine, people that support democracy. Why is that?
I'm not sure. You should read more of my comments.
I do right now on Twitter and on TikTok. Overwhelmingly, people.
More my comments.
And when I made a video saying I was investigating you, a lot of people were pretty happy about it because people have been pretty disgusted with what you've been putting out. You say that you're representing people, but the only people you're representing are in the Kremlin.
Cool, my friend. I don't have a problem with people being mad. I'm immune to people disliking me. I don't mind people disliking me. I don't mind people being angry with me. I don't care. I want to do what I believe is true, whatever the consequence. And you think that I didn't know going into this topic that I will have people like you, people in the parliament against me. But I do what I believe it's true, and I act with actions, and this is what...
Well, you don't, because you don't want to go to Ukraine. So you don't put it into actions. You go to Russia.
I told you, I already went to Ukraine, and...
Before the invasion.
And I am talking with other MEPs. We're already discussing to do a trip to Ukraine. We're a bit afraid to do this, but we are trying to see and look into it.
Okay, well, I look forward to seeing you actually go to Ukraine and find out the truth. And then finally, do you condemn Russia for what they did in Ukraine? Do you 100% condemn what they did?
Yes, I condemn the invasion. I'm not happy with it. I don't agree with the invasion. I think it's a mistake.
Have you got any more trips to Moscow lined up?
I'm not sure. I tried to get an interview with Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, but also I tried.
What the hell is that going to do, speaking to someone like Lavrov?
Also, I have an interview lined up also with the foreign minister, the ex-foreign minister of Ukraine.
So more Russian propagandists
of Ukraine as well,
like Lavrov. Okay,
so,
excellent.
But I'm doing also with you, and he agreed, and we just need to find the time. The ex-foreign minister of Ukraine, and he's willing to talk with me. So I'm trying to understand both sides. I'm trying to move towards a more diplomatic solution instead of continuing the war for thousands, hundreds of thousands of people.
Well, you should put your money where your mouth is, and you should put your words into actions. You should go to Ukraine, and you should start putting out content that's actually useful.
I'm talking to you. I'm trying to we're trying to arrange for me to interview the ex-foreign minister of Ukraine, and also we're looking into going to Ukraine.
I think this is done.
Cool.
Okay.